to learn some stuff. Jim George is in here. Jim is the professor of the universe, and we're going to ask him questions about everything. Everything. The universe is everything. I don't understand the whole idea of parallel universes, because that would imply that the universe isn't everything. Anyway, Jim is the owner of American Cable Services, and you perhaps may have a question about what he does for a living, which is TV and cable and all that. However, in the years of doing this show with Jim, we've learned that he knows a lot about technology, and then it goes beyond that. We just have, it's a fun Friday segment. I love this segment. Good morning, Jim. How are you?
Good morning.
There, and I'll have to turn my gadget up a little.
Oh, boy, here we go.
To be able to hear you.
Yeah.
So you... First of all, congratulations. You were nominated to be Communicator of the Year.
Correct.
And that's awesome.
It was.
You went to the event last night.
Did.
You and your wife, and you had a good meal.
Had a great meal.
All right. But unfortunately, you didn't come out with a trophy.
No trophy. I did get a bottle of wine that was empty with lights in it. That was like their gift for everybody nominated. It pulsating lights inside a bottle of wine.
But being nominated means a lot.
It was.
It really does. It means that you are communicating, which is, I think,
right.
something we are lacking in this country, in this world. And,
Right.
We don't communicate.
Just
well.
talk to me. Let me know what's going on. Right.
Yeah. So today we're going to kind of go back to your roots. We're going to talk about technology, huh?
Right. So I was just saying to you earlier that I get this magazine once a quarter called NASA Tech Briefs. It is a free communication, but someone could probably go online, and they've now changed the name to just Tech Briefs. But they have articles in here about the products that NASA has developed. So people ask, why are we spending millions of dollars on space and this and that? Well, NASA and the people that NASA support, there are universities that get grants from NASA and vice versa to develop a product. And here's one of them. It says super strong wood. The University of Maryland has engineered wood that is more than 10 times stronger and tougher than before, creating a natural substance that is stronger than many titanium alloys. This kind of wood could be used for cars, airplanes, buildings of any application where steel is used. The process begins by removing the wood's lignum, the part of the wood that makes it both rigid and brown in color. Then it compresses it under a mild temperature of 150 degrees. This causes the cellulose fibers to become very tightly packed. Any device such as holes or knots are crushed together. The fibers are then packed so tightly that they can form a stronger hydrogen bond, making the wood 5 times thinner than its original size. It is as strong as steel, but 6 times lighter, and it takes 10 more times of energy to fracture the wood.
Wow. So once it's, you maybe not know this answer, but I'm thinking once it's compressed like that, since it's not metal, how do you bend it? And with metal, you can bend it with heat.
So you would do it there in the process of removing the moisture.
So it has to be in
You know how they get a room that's like a sauna, full of moisture. Well, I know sauna be dry, but
so would it burn?
It probably would burn, but not in the being so tightly compact. No, it's going to be used for fire stop purposes. In other words, if you have a fire-rated door that it takes 2 hours to burn through, this would be the same thing. It's so tightly packed. But answering your question, since all the moisture has been removed, does that mean it will burn faster? And I don't know. Now for that little pithy thing that I read, there's a whole article on the same subject and how they do it. Another one that they have is they've created a battery out of water.
Oh, wow.
So it's a gel battery. I think I can show you the picture of it here. It's just like a piece of clear gel. And in the process of making it, salt comes out of it. So they're saying you put one of these by the ocean.
Right.
And it will take the salt out, and now you'll have clear ocean salt. And then the water that's left is energized in such a way as to make it create its own electricity by the hydrogen and oxygen, 2 compounds binding. And I could read that for you too, but just to let you know that this little magazine is packed full of those type of things.
So it's got a lot of things that we use every day that NASA developed.
Yeah, I know you can't see it, but there's the picture of the gel.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my.
Wow.
And the subject says flexible water-based lithium-ion battery. Researchers have developed a lithium battery that uses water salt solution as its electrolyte, reaching up to 4 volts, which is what smartphones need to operate. In the past, in order to obtain higher energy, the choices were either lithium or other electrolytic alloys. Now we can create it out of pure water.
Wow, that's fascinating, isn't it?
And that's very interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
And all these are free. What I mean by that is the government produces these, and at the end of the article it says for more information how you could use this product for your own business.
Wow.
This is amazing.
If you had asked me, name one thing that NASA created that we use, I would say Velcro. That's the only thing I think I know. But I know we had a conversation once. We had a list of things that are everyday products that NASA has made. So
Yeah, Tang.
yeah, Tang and Velcro.
Gotta have a food product.
Yeah.
Freeze dried,
Well, yeah. Did you ever try some of that astronaut food? They
Yes,
sell
I
them like in the hunting stores and
Yes,
things like
yeah.
that.
I'm not real partial to that, though.
Yeah, but the ice cream, it's not cold, but it does taste like ice cream.
That
Yeah.
is the amazing part of that product.
It's almost like ice cream flavored cotton candy, something like.
So technology is really, something else. I mean, the way it's passing us up so quickly, the things we thought we knew,
You know what I heard about? I heard about an 8K. Is that 8,000? Right? 8K TV.
Yes.
And it was a radio piece I heard yesterday, and they were saying that the 8K TV is going to be so clear, even though it exists already. The reason they say it's going, and it's a $13,000 TV, 8K, but nobody produces any 8K programs.
Korea is very close to them in Japan.
Is that right?
Yes. They have a onesie, twosie, 8K, movies and such as that. In other words, they'll produce a movie like in Korea or in Japan, in Japanese or in Korean for that populace that's 8K.
Wow. So the TVs are ahead of the
phones?
well, not the phones, but I mean the medium that is used on the TV. But like we used to do this on radio all the time.
Oh.
We used to have when we first started going digital with sound. I'm trying to remember the numbers, so forgive me for being a little bit sketchy on this or unclear. But bottom line is we had MP3 files or whatever that were high-end quality, right? Mm-hmm. And in order to save space on the computer, we would make them smaller.
Right.
Back in the beginning, back when we did music. And nobody cared because the radio couldn't carry that anyway. You couldn't. Mm-hmm. It didn't meet that same level, so it didn't matter. If you played a 300, what was that thing? 320?
Yes, DPI. No.
Not DPI, but 320.
For the audio.
For the audio, yeah. Whatever it was, 320. And radio couldn't.
320.
You couldn't replicate
Right.
320. So whatever.
Yeah, the TVs will eventually catch up, but they do have 8K TVs out, as you said. And I believe that might be the stop of it. I know every time we say that's the stop of it, but there's so many pixels per square inch, it's hard to imagine shoving any more in those, in that area.
Plus, I mean, the human eye, again, it's gonna be one of those things where it's showing more than we can see.
Yes, yeah, or hear.
Yeah.
Or hear. I was just reading one of the articles in this NASA Tech Brief is that, a person can hear up to like 16,000 hertz.
Oh.
And so microphones are made for like 20,000 hertz, so you can capture. Well, they now have microphones that can go up to 40,000 hertz. And the idea is the government's using that frequency to communicate.
Oh,
So law
really?
enforcement people and such speak into the little mouthpiece they have, goes around the ear and such, and it transmits at 40,000 hertz. So nobody else can hear it around them.
We have a listener. Her name is Gareth. And she came in with her parents. She loves birds. She has birds all the time. Okay. She had an amazing story to tell us. Birds, the parrot species, I guess,
Right.
they mimic speech. You hear them talking all the time, right?
Right.
Well, they can also mimic things we can't hear that they can hear. Okay? And apparently the garage door opener has a sound. And the bird can mimic that sound. And she said didn't she?
Yeah.
Was it her own garage?
Yeah, it was
her
her own.
garage door was going up and down because the bird kept mimicking the garage door opener's frequency.
And that's something.
Isn't that an amazing
Yeah,
story?
That's crazy.
That's
I killed that
amazing.
bird.
Yeah, isn't that amazing though?
That is super amazing.
I know.
I know when we used to be at WTMC, it was in that field, and then I would park and I'd open my door, and then if my keys were in there, go ding, 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 ding. Well, then the birds that were around there, you know, I would open the door and I would close the door, and then I would hear that same ding, 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 but it was coming from the birds.
Yeah, oh, wow.
The birds
From
were
my
mimicking
car.
it.
It
Yeah,
was so
yeah.
cool.
Must be a mockingbird mocking you.
Yeah, out of sight.
Isn't that something? Those
So-
crazy birds.
So do you think Disney's Imagineers now, they're kind of behind the times, that they have to step up if they want to do anything future now? Because
Yeah, well,
even
you see that
Kodak
now.
Movie,
You see
is-
that where they're taking whole exhibits out, putting new exhibits in, and when they do, then they incorporate the new technology. It's hard to go back into anything that's already been created and bring it up to date. Like you,
Yeah.
it'd be hard to force. Okay, so we used to have analog TVs, and then the cable company came out with a way to compress that and do standard definition in a QAM format. QAM just means quadrature amplitude modulation, and there you have AM. That's the other part of that, amplitude modulation. But your TVs didn't have a tuner, so they had to give you a set-top box. And then everybody complained about the set-top box, so TV manufacturers came out with TVs that would show clear QAM. That is, if it's not scrambled, you would see it on your. So now all TVs come out, all flat screen TVs come out with a QAM tuner. And then 4K came out, so they had to put another tuner in there that would receive 4K. And now they're coming out with 8K, so now it's not just the tuner and the pixels, but it's a lot more denser type technology.
Yeah.
But when you open up those TV sets, there's a printed circuit board in there the size of 4 inch by 4 inch.
Is that
That's
right?
the whole
Real
TV.
tiny, huh?
That's everything.
Wow, it's amazing. Really.
Everything. The tuner is the smallest fingernail.
Wow.
That's the tuner.
I know from this radio station that our transmitter is about the size of an old VCR, and the transmitter we had at WTMC was about the size of this. What was it about the size of? It was a whole wall. Anyway.
Yeah, it was, and then
pretty-
it went down. It was the
Yeah, it
whole
was pretty,
thing.
pretty
It was
big.
huge.
Yeah, we have a phone call. Let's
All right.
take that call. Good morning. Thank you for calling in, for waiting. You're on with Jim George.
Thank you very much. A little bit ago, you were talking about the ding, ding, ding. When my wife gets mad at me, she calls me a ding, 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 ding.
That's a ding-a-ling.
Yeah, in her eyes, I'm a ding-a-ling, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, I've got an old fire extinguisher that I had back up in Wisconsin, and I've been down here 20 years, so the thing's got to be 30, I don't know, forever. It's a Kindle dry chemical. The gauge on it is in the green. Is it still workable, do you think?
It might be, but every 2 years thereabouts. If you any kind of business, for instance, every 2 years, you must by law change those and have them recharged. And then I think it's every 6 or 8 years you must throw them away and get a new one. So yours may or may not work, but if you took it in anywhere, if it was a rechargeable type, they would not recharge it. In your case, it's not rechargeable. It's a one-time use, and you throw it away.
Oh my gosh, I never knew that. It doesn't say on the instructions anywhere that a certain time period is involved, so it's really interesting to know that.
Yeah, well, if you went down to Lowe's or someplace that sells fire extinguishers for the home and such, and you looked on the box, it would give you all the latest and news about fire extinguishers.
Yeah. Say, real quickly, I'd like to mention something. Larry, about a week or so ago, had a deal on with toilets that if you buy one of these low water usage toilets, you could get some kind of a government help as far as payment for it. I just wanted to say that about 2 years, maybe 3 years now, we installed one of those low water flushing toilets, and I'm not all that happy. I'd like to tell the general public also that a lot of times you might have to flush that thing twice or 3 times to get it to do what it's supposed to do, and you're actually probably using more water than you did originally with the old one.
Yes, yes,
good.
that is one of the
Yeah.
problems.
Maybe because you eat too much. That's probably the problem.
Well, that raw beef and bratwurst, can cause a little problem, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Beans, the musical fruit. The more you eat,
Anyway, I just wanted to tell people that you think you're doing something good, but in a way you might be flushing that baby 2 or 3 times and you're using more water than you started out with.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah, but
I
at least
agree.
but at least you can get $100 from the government. That's a good part.
From the city of Ocala, yeah.
Buy a lot of rocks with that.
all right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hugh. All right, and
Morning, Mike.
The phone lines are open if you want to call in. The number is 622-9622. Jim George is here. I love the idea of looking at how we got technology. Like some of it came from NASA. You know, we all know the names Thomas Edison and Alexander Graham Bell, but pretty much, and Steve Jobs, I guess we all know.
Right.
But there's a lot of people that contribute to those things, right? Like I remember as a kid, there was no single person credited with inventing the television. That was a group effort, I guess you would say, right?
Well, certain people had invented the technology of let's say, sending the transmission from point A to point B, including the visual picture of creating it and the visual picture of recreating it on the other end. And Farnsworth is basically the gentleman
That is the name, yes.
right. And then Farnsworth was scooped by, I want to say Sikorsky, is that his name? He was the RCA guy. Someone will call in. Jim will call in and give me the correct name. But anyway, he basically stole the patent away from Farnsworth. But many years ago, and I would say 10 to 15 years ago, the Cable TV Association at their national meeting awarded Farnsworth with a big plaque and everything else because he was literally the inventor of television.
Is that right? So
I'm really glad that people aren't satisfied with what is new right now, because you had silent movies and then it went to talkies, you had radio and then it went to television, and now it's you're everywhere with everything, especially on your phone.
Yeah, you can watch TV on your phone if you have good eyes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, my wife will text me and I say, honey, come. You expect me to read that text?
Rob and I are doing
Morning.
we're doing a children's book, Jim. I think we might have told you this,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So we have it so far as an ebook. It's not a printed book yet. It's an ebook, and you can see it on the phone.
Yeah.
Good luck reading it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But sometimes technology for preservation isn't a good thing. When they came out with those new light bulbs, and then I replaced the light bulbs, and my mom did, and the people I know in our house when the other ones went out, you can't read. It's very, very hard to read with those light bulbs.
Right.
And that, to me, that was kind of a step backwards.
Yeah, now you need to change them again to the new LED light bulbs. They are super bright.
Oh, they are.
Oh, they are so bright, it's mind-boggling.
Oh, that's good to hear.
What's that
yeah.
on the packaging? What does it say?
Well, probably the type you bought was either off-white, like you see up here on the ceiling.
Right.
Or they were the circular type. They had a couple of twists to them.
Yes.
Those are very outdated. Now, they're little small LEDs, anywhere between 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and they're built into the light itself. And then when you screw them on, it's like one of those super bright flashlights. I mean,
nice.
it creates a huge light. So your street lights, for instance, I've asked the city of Ocala, have you guys ever thought about getting those yellow phosphorus ones out of there and the mercury ones out of there and going with LEDs? And they said that they've been trying for 2 years to convince the county, the engineers have to go with LEDs. Less power. You need less power to run them.
Oh, sure.
And they give twice the light.
Yeah.
And it's white light, not yellow light.
We had a story the other day that Disney World was setting up so many solar panels that they will be able to supply electricity to 2 of their 4 theme parks.
Right.
Isn't that amazing?
That's
amazing.
unbelievable.
We have a phone call. Good morning. Thank you for calling in, for waiting. You're on with Jim George.
Good morning, Larry, Rob, and Jim.
Good morning.
A lot of these new technologies with lights, you have to be careful because a lot of these lights, and I think they are the LEDs or certain LEDs for sure, produce what they call blue light, which really isn't very good for your eyes. And another thing that produces them, is blue light, is your television and your your iPad, smartphone, and all that. And if you spend a lot of time looking at that thing, you could be slowly but surely hurting your eyesight. And it's something that we all have to more or less be aware of. I mean, with everything good that comes down the pike, there's always a caveat.
Oh, yeah.
And anyway, it's something we should really be looking into. I understand that they've been using blue light for years to treat a certain condition in newborn babies, and so there are benefits to this blue light, but they cover their eyes when they're getting this treatment.
Yeah.
At least that's what I'm told.
I've been told that there's whole districts in Europe that have blue light areas.
Really? Getting away from those red lights. So they're incognito.
I know exactly what you're saying.
I'll kindly stay in America. I mean, they're a little too far out there for me.
The blue light district, yep.
Yeah. Well, have a great weekend, everybody, and thanks again for your programming, Larry, and WOCA, and everybody have a great day.
Thank you, Sam. Appreciate that.
It is a beautiful.
What would you like to see as the next advancement in technology in your profession?
No, I don't think I'm looking forward to anything new. I keep telling everybody it's passing me by too quickly. Number one, I can't really understand everything. We all have a little niche that we feel comfortable in, that we know and we can operate in. And then as soon as something else is introduced, you feel like you can handle it and understand it, but you understand it only to a certain degree. Yeah. And then something else gets introduced, and then the more that you know, all it tells you is the less you know. Mm-hmm. I mean, the more you learn, the more you need to learn. So I'm kind of filled up, I'm kind of saying, okay, this is for the younger generation that doesn't know anything at all, and so this is all new to them.
Well, and they say that's the same, I guess, similar to the new television. So 8,000 almost looks unreal to you and I because it looks so real. It looks so. It is so much like looking at a person without a TV that it almost looks fake because we're so used to TV looking a little bit different than real life.
Right. If it doesn't have static in it, we used to have static and analog. Right. Now you don't have static. It's either on or off, or it pixelates. It's a whole new life out there. But the medical area, I'm looking actually. If anything, I'm looking forward to all the newest medical things. One of the articles in this NASA talks about they have created nano bots that are actually 10,000 times smaller than all the other nanobots ever produced. And they can program these nanobots to go into your body and repair your body. So they can send it into your heart. So they induce it into your bloodstream. Wow. And it will go into your heart. And if you have a flappy valve that needs to be sewn together, well, these nanobots all hold hands more or less. And they mend, that part of your heart. And if you have an eye that is deformed from the back, and that's why you can't get it to basically focus correctly, they send them into your eye. And wow, unbelievable. And that's in this article that I'm reading today about the nanobots.
Really?
Yeah. So medical is where I think I would like to see the technology.
And remember Mork and Mindy, the nano, nano.
Oh, yeah.
That was the first time we heard the word nano.
Yeah.
And did it mean anything back then, or was it just a goofy thing?
It probably was a goofy thing. Because it's actually a scale of like 10 to the minus 9th, It's a mathematical, there's
right?
There's milli.
That's what it actually means.
Thousandths of an inch. There's mega, millionths of an inch. There's giga, and then there's nana. And then there's pico. The list goes on and on as to how many zeros are behind it or ahead of it.
You see, you're part of this technology.
But ultimately, all this technology...
But I learned that back in grade school. That's what I'm saying. Kids today don't know this stuff.
No, neither does this kid. I didn't know that either. Jim, thank you for coming in. You want to give a contact number for
Certainly. It's 854-9795, and you guys have a great weekend.
Thank you, Jim. Mike Fallon coming in just in a bit. He's going to talk to us about higher education happenings. We'll be right back.
Fox News Radio, I'm Chris Foster. President Trump tweets, Korean War to end. That's the goal. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un went over the border to meet with South Korean President Moon Jae-in, pledging to work toward peace. Kim translated here.
This declaration shouldn't repeat the tragic histories of the previous agreements.
President Moon plans to visit North Korea sometime in the fall. President